So in a previous video we talked about how to take a logical diagram like this one with the PCs, the routers, and the switch and turn it into a wiring diagram like this one, which shows the devices and then how they're going to be physically connected. So now let's take the next step and talk about taking it from our wiring diagram into the physical classroom. So if you look right here, you'll see PC7 is supposed to be connected to jack 75. You'll see these are labeled 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. If you look down here on this block of jacks right next to the end of the row of tables, you'll see 75, 76, 77, which are these three here, 78, 79, 80 down here. So that's where we got those numbers from. Alright, so PC7, if we trace this, is supposed to be connected to jack 75. So we're going to start by grabbing our network cable, and we are going to disconnect the existing blue cable. Now this one right here is for our YVC network. We want this to go to our private network, so we're going to disconnect the blue cable, set it aside. We're going to put the purple cable in, and then we're going to take the other end of that cable, and remember, based on our wiring diagram, it's supposed to go to jack 75. So we're going to take it and we're going to plug it into jack 75. Now we're going to do the same thing for PC8 and PC9. PC8 is coming here to jack 76, so I'm going to grab another cable. We're going to connect it to jack 76, and then we'll take it and run it over to PC8. And then PC9 here is supposed to be connected to jack 77. So we're going to take it and we're going to plug it in here. Now, that completes this part of our cabling. Now before we move on to the next room, let me show you one other thing, and that is these are serial ports that we'd use for console connections. So if we wanted a console connection, we would draw a connection from here down to one of our other ports. And that would plug into our serial port here and then to our port down here. So we have 207, our PCs in 207 cabled. For our next step, let's move into 208 and we'll cable from the patch panel to our switches. Okay, so now let's go to the back and we'll take our G01 connections from alpha and beta, we'll put them into Phobos, and we will have completely cabled our network. Okay, so we were using in the other room jack 75, 76, 77. So if you look on the patch panel here, you're going to see labels that number, or with numbers that match the numbers in 207. So we're going to find jack 75. And if we look at our wiring diagram, we're going to see where we go from jack 75 over to the alpha switch. Now, let me address one thing here real quick. You'll notice on the switch, I did not define which ports on the switch. That's okay in this case. If you're doing something specific like VLANs, you may need to document which specific ports you're going into, but we don't care. So what we're going to do is we're going to come from 75 to the alpha switch. So let me lay this down. I'm going to grab a network cable. I'm going to find jack 75, and then I'm going to come to the alpha switch, and since I didn't define which port, I'm just going to put it in port F01. Back to my wiring diagram, and now I have 76 that needs to go to the alpha switch as well. So another cable, find jack number 76 on my patch panel, and run that to F02. And remember, it doesn't really matter which one I put it into because I'm not using VLANs. Let's check out our third one here. We have jack 77, that if we trace it, it's actually going to the beta switch. So I'm going to find another cable, jack 77, and this time I'm going to go to beta port F01. So that gets my PCs connected from that room to the wall jack, and then from the patch panel to their switches. And if we go back to our diagram, we got two more things we need to do in here, and that is G01 on the alpha switch has to go to G00 on the Phobos router. If you look up here at the Phobos router, you're going to see that there is no jacks on the front; those are on the back. So we'll get to that in a second. And then beta is going from G01 to G01 on Phobos. And this time I wanted to use specific port numbers so they're identified. Let me grab 2 cables, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. We're going to go from alpha, and our gigabit Ethernet ports on our switches are going to be these 2 over here. It's going to be G01 and G02. So from alpha, I'm going to G01, and I need to get back behind to Phobos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it through this spot right here. I'm just going to remember that one's alpha, because the rest of it I'm going to have to show you from the back. And then from beta, I'm going to go G01. And for beta, I'm going to go through the second hole here. Now you don't have to do that, but since there's only one of me and I'm going to be jumping back and forth, that's just going to make it a little bit easier. Okay, so now the front part of our cabling is done. If you want to dress it up a little bit more, pop that open. You can slide some of these over side here just to keep things a little bit cleaner. That helps a little bit. Okay, so now let's go to the back and we'll take our G01 connections from alpha and beta, we'll put them into Phobos, and we will have completely cabled our network. Okay, so now we're behind the rack, and from our network diagram we identified that we were using Phobos. I had a hard time seeing this in the previous shot, but you'll see the blue labels here that identify the name of the router, and the one we're looking for is Phobos. As you look back here, and you're not going to be able to see this very well from this shot, but there are a couple of Ethernet jacks here. They're going to have a little yellow label, and one of them is going to say GE01, and the other is going to say GE00. So if we look at this, we needed our line from alpha to come to the router G00. So remember, alpha was our top line coming through here. So I'm going to take it, and I'm going to plug it into G00. And then we had a line from beta going to G01. So I'm going to take the second line, the lower line that we had from beta, and it's going into G01. Okay, at that point, we have completely cabled our network. We went from the logical network diagram to a wiring diagram, and then from the wiring diagram, we were able to set up our network connections both in 207 and here in 208.